Hello and welcome everybody. I am very excited about this live today. I'm going to be introducing our latest bilingual book. It is Saurmandal ki Sair and Champu's Trip to Outer Space. This beautiful, colorful book has been written by Alankrita Amaya. It was originally written in Hindi, and it is translated by Sarita Saraf into English and has been beautifully illustrated by Devika Oza. And this is our latest collection in our bilingual series, which we started publishing last year. We launched last year Pagdi for Se, Singh Ki Nai Pagdi. If you haven't seen these already, they are out in the market. This is Animal Band, Janvaron Ka Band, in which farm animals are playing different Indian musical instruments. This one, the wild animals are going shopping for Indian clothes. And the third one was One Elephant, Two Monkeys, Ek Hathi, Do Bandar, which was a cute little young boy going and doing different activities with different animals. And they all turn out to be his toys at the very end. So it's a cute little counting book. And we also had Colors with Radha Krishna, which was bilingual last year. So I'm very, very excited to add to our series of bilingual books. And it is this beautiful book, Saurmandal ki Sair, and we're going to be chatting with the author, Alankrita Amaya. So I will just add her now. Give me a minute to join. I'm trying to find her now. She should be joining in a quick second, and then we can get started chatting about this book and how it was created. Okay, I think Alankrita is here. Hello, hi Alankrita. So good to have you today on our live and chat about this book. I'm so happy you have copies with you, and we can show some sneak peeks to our audience from inside the book as we chat. And so, how does it feel to see your manuscript, Saur Mandal Ki Sair, come alive in this lovely production in a bilingual form?
I am just proud of it. This is like, I think, my second time as a writer only. Otherwise, I usually illustrate with my writing. And I was so nervous and skeptical of how it's going to be because, as an illustrator, also, you kind of have a vision of what you imagine it. But I think Devika has done such a fab job. She's gotten yeah, like the solar system and the colors of each planet. She did more than what I expected, and I'm just very happy with it. So yeah.
I'm so glad that you love the end production. We do too. This is our second book with Devika Oza, and her
Oh,
style is just so quirky and fun and playful
nice.
that I think it'll go really well with for this book, and I think the audience should love it.
Cool.
And tell me, this title of yours, Saur Mandal Ki Sair, it's very, very interesting and intriguing. What inspired you to write a book about the planets for kids?
I think my first thought when I write is, uh, would I enjoy it as if I was a child? If I was 5 years old, would I want to read that book? So I think for any book I approach, that's my first thought. And I remember one time I had gone scuba diving, and I remember the silence that I felt underwater. And I
Mm.
wondered whether it feels the same way in outer space and how amazing it would be to actually experience that. And and then and then because I'm a picture book creator, I'm just like, okay,
It
what if
has to
we
be.
have like some if I could like travel through outer space and actually see this beauty and see what all planets look like, and then that's how it just started, and I started writing Saurmandal ki Sair.
That's wonderful. I mean, yes, I mean, you can really imagine with the illustrations, with the text, going like she's on this journey and she's visiting all these planets, and it's a beautiful visual journey as well. As it's educational. How did you combine those two? You know, making it fun and a learning-based book. And what were the challenges you faced when you wrote this script?
I think I my intention for any book is always to not make it educational, actually, to never have a lesson for it. This just somehow became something where, of course, we have like 8 planets, so we kind of are traveling to each planet. But my first intention when writing is to just have fun,
Yes.
for the child to have fun, for me to have fun, and on the way, if you do learn something, that's great. If you don't, that's great too, because I hope you just had fun on the journey. So that's always my first intention of writing a story. But challenges, I think I can say that when I started reading about the planets, and I saw that there were so many characteristics to each planet, and
Yes.
I was just like, how do I fit everything into into like each planet and each page? Because I would want to, like, okay, Mercury is hot and it's small, but I also know that when I'm reading about it, there's so much more to it, and I want to add those things. So I think that was a little challenging for me to cut it down and to make it just like a few things for it to kind of cater to the smaller audience as well.
Yes,
So
I
I
mean,
think,
it's hard to make those choices when you're a writer and a children's book writer because
yeah,
you don't want to overwhelm it and then make it like a textbook. You want to pick the most
that's
critical
true.
things that will be impactful, which the child will remember. And I think you've done a beautiful job. And there is, those very unique features of each planet, which the child will remember after he reads this book. And it's been done so beautifully.
I hope so.
Tell me, what is your favorite verse from the book? Maybe you can read it for us.
That's a bit difficult for me to
Okay,
choose.
which is your favorite page, not just verse, but in terms of
Yeah,
illustration
because
and
yeah,
how it's come across at the end?
I would go for Devika's. The most fun I had looking at would be, I think the first spread
Yes,
also, just the first spread, where
she's
imagine
fun.
Champu has the option of sitting inside the rocket, but no, I'm gonna surf on it.
That is true. That's
So I like that
that's
because
that's a very
that's what I
interesting
would want
visual.
to do. Yeah, and maybe they're all so colorful. Uh, Maybe Jupiter. Here, this one, where Champu is jumping on each moon.
Yes,
I think I think the poses she's made is so like dynamic, and I love that she's jumping around
from
across
moon to
around
moon.
Jupiter. So I like that too. But yeah, I could just go on about each spread and
Maybe
why
you
I like
can
it.
maybe you can read the first one to us, just to get
So
us in the mood of this book.
yes. So the first, it starts with this lovely, beautiful cover page where Champu and her little cat is with her, and they are ready to take a trip to outer space. So, do I do it in Hindi or English? Or
Both, both.
so the Champu rode her rocket straight into outer space. A billion stars were calling her, twinkling with such grace. चंपू चली रॉकेट में करने सौर मंडल की सैर जगमग तारे बुला रहे हैं नहीं थम रहे पैर. So
Lovely.
and then we have her meeting Mercury and Venus and finally jumping into like the cool waters of Earth. But I don't want to like give away everything. So yes.
So you've just received all your books. Have you noticed that we have a QR code at the back? I think I would like people to know that we have a QR code on all our bilingual books. And I don't know if you've had the chance to hear it. What did
Oh
you
my God.
think of the
So
audio
I
book?
was I was so busy admiring the whole thing and that I'd forgotten that this is going to happen. And when I did, Rohini, I think, has done the Rohini, right? Has done the
Rohini
audios
Page
for
has done
it.
that, yes.
And it is fabulous. I was so excited that someone's reading with all the sound effects and everything. And the the reason I think audiobooks also work so well because I have this like core memory of mine when I was a kid, and I had got my first Karadi Tale used to come up with these cassettes with
Yes,
books.
yes, yes.
Huh. Like in way back in 1997 or 8 or something, I had got my first book. I think it was called The Musical Donkey. So, usme there is the donkey singing to the moon or something like that. And I remember listening to it like 100 times. वो tape recorder में cassette डाल के I used to rewind and play and just constantly hear and the funny voiceovers and the sound effects. I just that's such a core memory for me. So I think it's wonderful that Adidev has done this and that you've done this because I think it's very important for us to have that as well. And also the options of being just in Hindi, just in English, or in both, whatever the child or the caregiver wants to choose also is an option. So yeah, kudos on that. That's wonderful.
We just felt that having multiple intelligences, some people are good visual learners and some people are more auditory. So we thought it's and also because the book is in Hindi and English, and for our diaspora audience, if they're not able to read the Hindi font, they should be able to hear the Hindi audio and enjoy it. So and it would be too much in the book to put the Hindi transcribed into English text. So I thought that would become too much text for the page. So I'm glad we were able to do the audio. And like you said, we all have those memories of having some publishers would do a CD or
Yeah.
a cassette
It was very
and
rare though. So now that this is happening, I'm very happy that, and it's happening for my book. So I'm super excited.
yeah. And now it's become so easy, the technology to you can just have a QR code and people can scan it.
That's true.
And then maybe even the child can read along with it or repeat it, pause it, go back,
Mhm.
etc. So
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I have some comments coming saying your writing is so much fun. I'm so happy to
Um,
hear that your children like Alankrita's writing, and I'm
Thank
really
you.
sure that they will enjoy this one too. And you mentioned the characters. I have some questions about the characters. Where did the idea of Champu's name come from? What inspired you to name this character Champu?
So I come up with names very randomly. Uh, Everything that sounds fun is good to go. Like I have characters that are called Chuglu Buglu and Bodabim, if some of you must have heard. And so anything that's fun and has maybe meaning or no meaning, it does not matter. But I think because that's how I remember having like funny names. And so I think Champu was, and also we have the habit of making these short, funny names for children, which is, I don't know, not really great, but I enjoy it. So, so I think Champu was just a fantastic, simple idea for the character.
Did it have anything to do with like a chumpy malish and like how maybe she has oil in her hair with the chotis made, which a lot of
Yeah,
Indian kids,
in my
have?
in my school, there was this boy who had every day had a lot of oil in on his hair, and he used to sit right in front of me. And so I used to come home and, of course, tell Mama all the stories that happened in school, and I used to tell her, "वो I think रोज चंपी करके आता है." So so I think that was also like a great way because, Champi, and of course, I think even for me, like Mama used to make my plaits and have it all neatly done with oil. So, and then Devika has just created this character with this long purplish hair. So that is very cool, which is like really seen so well in this
Yeah.
page where
Yeah.
she
It
has the
truly is.
hair wrapped around Neptune, which is like really funny. But yes.
Tell us about Champu's companion cat. Where is the inspiration for her cat?
Cat, my inspiration is sleeping behind me. I
Okay.
can't really wake him up, but his name is Courage, and I always have a cat in my story, even
Okay.
if they're the main character or not. You would always spot a cat, maybe just behind sitting on a wall, or maybe like playing around or somewhere in the story. And for me to have this one. And Courage is also a ginger cat, by the way.
Yeah.
So, if I would imagine going anywhere, I would want to take Courage with me. So, I was like, Champu's companion would be great to have a cat. So, yes, that's how much I love having cats in my stories. So,
That's
yes.
really interesting to know about you. I did not know that about you or your books, that there's always a cat in your books, whether it's in the story or in
Always.
the illustrations. It's quite a tribute to your cat courage.
Yes, he's gonna leave quite a legacy in my.
Yeah, if only he could understand, he would be very, very touched. That's
So,
lovely.
I think I just read a comment. I also have a Persian cat. Okay, we have a lot of cat fans,
What kind
and
of
love.
cat is your cat? Do you know what kind of where it's from?
Mine is just a stray Indian
Okay.
cat. I don't know the breed of. I love the animals in your stories, Didi. I'm a cat
Yeah.
lover too.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is so nice that there are so many cat lovers and they're all fans of your stories which have cats in them.
Yeah, but this one's easy to spot because uh,
It's yeah, pretty much there in every page. It's not, it's enjoying the whole experience
yeah, in
with
this
Champu.
green bag. So yeah, this is yeah, like you see this cat traveling happily with Champu.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about bilingual books, and I know you write both in English and Hindi. You've published other bilingual books before. Tell me, do you naturally find yourself thinking in English or in Hindi? What comes more naturally to you?
So I think when I started, my first book was in English, and I I had started writing in English, and my first book was when I was 18 years old. So I didn't have firstly, I didn't have the intention of writing. I just randomly in one page had written some English, like a little English story, which was about a black cat. So that's how I started. But I continued writing in English for another 3, 4 books until I decided to write a story about a balloon, and that very easily came to me in Hindi. So I was like, okay,
Mhm.
let me just give this a shot. I've never done it, and I've always written English stories and reached out with English stories. And I wasn't sure about it, but I just gave it a shot and I wrote it and I sent it to the publisher, and they loved it. And I was like, okay, so maybe I it does come Hindi does come easily to me, and I've always spoken in Hindi at home.
Yes.
So that's when I started writing in Hindi, and then I wrote about a story about a pigeon, and now I'm writing about Champu, and I'm very excited to actually be able to kind of when the story comes in Hindi, it just comes in Hindi, and I write it, or when it comes in
Yes.
English, I just do that. So yeah,
I
I.
totally resonate with your thing that some stories just come to you in Hindi and some in English because even my own bilingual books, it's surprising that I feel like one of them came to me in English and one in Hindi, and then we had to go and work towards translating them, even though they
Exactly.
were the same series. So I think it's beautiful growing up in a country like India with so many languages
Right.
that you're equally immersed in multiple languages at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me, what do you think, how do you think bilingual storytelling impacts children's learning?
Um, I think it makes so much of a difference because unintentionally, I think their vocabulary becomes better. They're more fluent in the languages because you're kind of learning the structure in two languages. There is so much that comes from bilingual books, like even their listening capabilities get better because you're kind of switching from one language to another, so you have to focus and you have to listen. So there is, and also, as you said, like most uh, homes here speak in two languages at least. So
Yes.
I think it makes your identity stronger if you have two languages that you're reading in and that you identify with. So I would suggest to every parent to actually pick up bilingual books. I think that if you have now that you have so many options, so many quality book options, you should 100% go for bilingual books.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm seeing some of the feedback below also, and there are people saying, okay, we're not so comfortable with Hindi, but we read it in English. And it's great that that choice
Yeah,
is, the option is available to you, that you can read it in the language that you're more comfortable in, and then at the same time, you can hear the other language if you want to introduce your child to that language. Or if you don't, it's also, I mean, if it was a
you have a
purely Hindi
choice.
book and you are more comfortable in English, you're losing out on some great material, but because it's in both languages, it gives you that optionality, and it comes with the audiobook. So the language you're weaker in, you can start with the listening first.
Yeah.
So I hope parents make use of these resources and enjoy these books. I want to very quickly ask you a little bit about Alankrita, the author. What made you want to become a children's book author?
Um, Again, very unintentionally got into the field. I always knew I wanted to create stories and draw, but I didn't know how I'm supposed to do that. I wasn't sure of the career choices that are there, that are available for me to be able to do that. So I just got into animation and I was like, okay, that's how I'll probably create cartoons. Uh, and then by the end of my college degree, as I said, I used to scribble in my notebooks and I'd written this cat story. And I thought, okay, let me just send it to a publisher. And they were kind enough to decide to take me as an intern and publish that book, which was called Meow. And that's when my first book got published. And when I received the book, I was I was mind blown. I saw my name on the book and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is real. And I think that's when it kind of felt like this is what I want to do in my life. I want to create books for children, and if this is a possibility, and if someone's ready to actually hear what I want to say and see what I want to draw, then I think that's the only way I want to do it. So
It's
uh,
it
that's how I
seems
just
like you've inspired a lot of children out there. It's so nice to see. This is just a short live, and there's so many people, so many parents who've joined, saying that their kids love your books, and that you've made such an impact, that people are actually joining in and coming and mentioning that their kids have really enjoyed your books in their childhood. So I think you've achieved quite a lot of what you set out to do, and we're very happy that we've been able to work with you on this book project, and we're very proud of this book project. Now I just want to do a few fun questions. Tell me, if one of the planets you could bring to life as a character, because we personified a few of them here,
Mhm.
which one would you like to see or
I
hang
think
out with? Which planet would you hang?
oh I think if my intention for the story was to kind of create characters for each planet. I mean, I think I have some that I'd used in my session in Jaipur Book Literature Fest, where I created like these
Yeah,
planets
yeah.
which had like
It's beautiful.
personalities, and this is Uranus, and
That's
it's
very
very
cute.
cold, so it got like so I uh, so basically I think when I want children to think of them, I want to think of them as these wo Suraj Dada and he's like that, and then Mercury is like this, and to actually remember them as those characters and not really like or planets with personalities. I think that's what I want to go for. But I think if I would want to hang out, I mean, that's not fair because I would want to go and hang out with everyone. I would want to be with each planet. Um, but I think I'd go for Neptune because by the time Champu actually reaches Neptune, she's very tired and she really doesn't get enough time, and I feel bad for Neptune. I would want
Want to
I
hang
want
out
to
with
change.
Neptune a little.
Yeah, like yeah, like you're all the way there, so maybe you need some company, and I don't want to sit with Neptune. Yes.
There's a very cute question here saying if you could rename any planet in Saurmandal ki Sair with an Indian name, what would you call it and why?
Okay. Let me see. So I think when I was going through the Hindi names of the planets, because I was taught English names in school, I was very surprised by Jupiter
Yes,
because Jupiter's name was Brahaspati, and that's pretty heavy.
it's a little difficult.
And that's very heavy for that guy. And I feel Jupiter, even though he has like he's a big guy. I think he's got a very uh, lovely personality, and I think he's the sweetest of them all. So I would have like a cuter name for Brahaspati, and it would probably be like Bhopu or something like that. Because yeah, I think Champu also had the most fun with
Jupiter.
Jupiter. So yeah, I would want to rename and not make it sound very scary.
I was going to ask you which planet do you think Champu would like to visit again? And possibly it's Jupiter because it was like a playground where she's jumping from moon to moon and counting them.
I
So
mean,
sounds like the most playful and fun place.
95 moons, that's a lot of jumping to do. So I think Champu would have a lot of fun jumping around.
So you recently went to Buckaroo and launched this book there with a live event. Tell us some of the reactions that children had to this book. How did it go? What was the feedback?
So uh, I had a blast. I had two sessions there, and thought of dividing it into two types. One could be storytelling, and one could be actually doing some artwork around the solar system. So the first one was basically creating your own rockets to take to the solar system and visit all the planets. And the ideas I got first of all from all the children, like someone's coming up and saying, "नहीं हम UFO में भी जा सकते हैं, planets को visit करने." And then this I see these two siblings kind of discussing how to launch the rocket that they've created, and I'm just like quietly listening to them, and this girl is telling कि भैया नहीं हम टेरेस पे जाके लॉन्च करेंगे, it's not possible. And I was like, okay, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do that. And so like all the children had made their own rockets, and they had decided to take somebody with them along with them. So I had given them an option to think because Champu's taken her cat, so you can think of one, whoever you want to take. And the crazy ideas that came out of it. Some kids had taken fishes along with them, some kids have taken, they were like, Didi, can I take like three more people because I don't want to choose one? So, uh, and then we ended up just deciding to, okay, now three, two, one, let's just launch all our rockets, and kids were just running around with the rockets. So that was a blast. And then the second session was storytelling. So it was basically that's when I created like Suraj Dada, who
Mhm.
basically is like the dawn of the solar system. So we kind of made personified each character, each planet, and it was very interactive because everyone was supposed to go on this ride together and visit each planet. And I was so surprised that my age group that had come was 4 to 6 years old, and everybody knew the planets' names in Hindi.
Wonderful.
I was just, my heart was so full because I thought I'm going to teach them and I'll have to like be like, okay, this is called this and Mangal and Shukran, and everyone was just screaming out loud, and I was just so happy that everyone was in it and everyone was just ready to like take this trip with me. So that was a wonderful experience.
I can't wait to hear more about that experience and see some videos and pictures from there. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. One last thing. If there's one thing you could tell parents or children about this book, the last takeaway from this before we leave, what would you want them to know?
Uh, I hope that as I wanted the book to do, I hope that they remember the planets by who they are and not really that Mercury is just Mercury, but or Mars is just Mars, but also that Mars is a very shy planet and that's why it's red. And so I just hope that they, when they remember the planets, they remember by the character and the personality that they have. I think that's all I would want out of the book for them to
Yeah.
remember planets that way.
Yeah. Feel some sort of like connect with that planet, like feel that kind of like I think that's very much part of our culture where it's like that Chanda Mama Durgi. It's not just you're not just talking about the moon as a far off thing, but you try and bring it closer to the child's experience by saying, okay, he's like a mama who's taking
Yeah,
care of
yeah,
you. So I
yeah.
hope
So I
that
hope
this
that
book can
happens.
also be like that, and that the kids actually, it's a good thought that they, after reading the book, have that kind of connection with the whole solar system.
Yeah, that's all I hope that they can do. Yeah.
I'm sure they will. It's turned out so well. Thank you so much, Alakrita. This was just amazing. I really enjoyed it,
Thank
and
you.
thank you all who have joined today and who's going to watch later. I hope you enjoy this book and all the other books in our bilingual collection. And see you soon. Thank you,
Thank
Alakrita.
you. See
Bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye.